But it's 11:30, so let's begin as people trickle in here. Feel free to turn on your video. We always love seeing faces, but please keep your mics muted while we get through at least the first part of this discussion, and we'll have an opportunity to open it up to questions later in the session. So just some real quick notes. Here in Madison, which is where Michelle and I are both located, there's some heavy storms going on. I don't think it'll affect anything, but just so you're aware, in case the internet or power goes out at either of our locations, it was a force majeure, not anything intentional. So also want to mention this meeting might be a little bit shorter than usual, depending on how long the Q&A session goes. So get your questions into the chat and we will get to those at a later point in the discussion. So let us begin. Welcome, everyone. If you've attended these before, I'm sure you know who I am, Landon Solano. I'm a communications specialist here at Forward Service Corporation. I want to thank everyone for joining us and interrupting your Prime Day shopping spree that we're all doing on our lunch breaks. Want to let you know we're working hard on some great upcoming topics. It looks like we've got our slate pretty much set for the rest of the year, and we're very excited about some of these topics and speakers that we have coming up for you. Just a reminder, today's session is being recorded and will be provided along with today's a PDF of today's slide deck, along with some other materials this Friday as a follow-up. There will be a Q&A at the end of this conversation, so put your questions into the chat and they'll be read at that time, or we will open up to people being able to speak over their own microphone. So just a quick reminder that our goal here at Forward Service Corporation is to help people get stable, high-wage employment through training and supportive services. We're dedicated to meeting individuals on their own terms. If you take one thing away from today's meeting, is that everyone's treated with respect, and we will work tirelessly to connect them with the resources they need to succeed. We hope you'll consider connecting with Forward Service Corporation when you have someone that we can both service. Okay, today's topic is working better together. We have a conversation set up here with the new CEO of Forward Service Corporation, Michelle Szabrowicz, who started on July 3rd. Usually I have a little introduction to the theme here, but I think I'll hand it over to Michelle to tell us a little bit about herself before we dive into the discussion. So let me hand it over to Michelle for a few words. Michelle?
All right, welcome everyone. I just wanted to start out by thanking Landon and Brian for inviting me to the Lunch and Learn today. I'm excited to connect with everyone on the call. My name is Michelle Szabrowicz, and I started as the CEO at the beginning of July. So I think this is like business day 8 or something like that. So pretty new to the role, but not new to Forward Service Corporation. Personally, my husband and I live with our 4- and 6-year-old in Sun Prairie. Growing up, I lived on the east side of Madison, and now I just live on the other side of the interstate. So I moved like 4 to 5 miles away. So in the meantime, I've lived a few other places, but my house for my office is on the one side of the highway, so I can still see where I grew up. I also love college basketball, so give me a chat if you want to talk about Badger hoops or anything in the NCAA tournament. Those who work at FSC know I run the pool, so I wish I could watch more basketball, but with 2 young kids, if you're a parent, you know how that goes. That you don't get to do what you want to do all the time. So professionally, I graduated from UW-Madison in 2003 with a master's in accountancy. And I started my career working in public accounting. As a staff accountant, everyone did a rotation between manufacturing, financial institutions, nonprofit, 401k audits, and taxes. And that's when I really started to learn about non-for-profits, and I really started developing a passion for the work that's done in this space. I had many clients throughout the country, and I got to learn how different states do a lot of the programming that is happening here in Wisconsin. And so when I left public accounting, I worked at a construction company for 3 years, and I missed this work. I feel like this is an opportunity for me to make a mark on this space. At first, I just thought it was going to be accounting and how I could really, help people. I might not have the skills to be a case manager or a job developer, but I do know accounting, and I wanted to help, and that's the way I thought I could help. But at the construction company, I did learn a lot about apprenticeship programs as well. We were involved in the apprenticeship program, and learned about the collaboration that happened between non-for-profits, unions, and those apprenticeship and technical college programs. And then in July of 2011, I came to FSC as the accounting manager. I liked how this company was innovative with their programming, always open up to new ideas, and really worked on partnerships and collaborations, which is different than other nonprofits that I had seen in my career. And I thought that this company was different. As CFO, I was promoted to CFO in September of 2012. I really work on financial strategic objectives at CFO, working on grant budgets and the organizational budgets, and working with the financial departments of our funding sources. So I also, in transitioning to this role, just know that we do have a robust business continuity and succession plan with our board of directors. So I really mentored with Marcia Christensen over the years into this role, and she's really, really helped me through catching me up to speed on everything that's happening throughout the organization. So I hope that the transition appears seamless to our staff and partners. We will continue to serve our clients and work with our partners as we always did to really help those in the state of Wisconsin that need us. So while I'm still learning this position, FSC is in a great position to move forward, and I'm really proud to work at this organization.
Fantastic. Thanks, Michelle. I took accounting in high school and flunked. I realized it was not my forte. So anyone that comes from an accounting background, I always feel like I'm talking to a magician who doesn't, an audience member who can watch a card trick and not know how it works. It's magic to me. So I'm kind of curious what your accounting and financial background might bring in terms of a perspective to this position.
I think my accounting background helps me think efficiently and effectively about resources. You'll hear me say I'm not always for the cheapest solution, but I think really the solution that's going to help the clients and it's going to help our staff to spend time client facing and not trying to worry about all the programmatic requirements.
Awesome. So first, I have to thank you. The idea of working better together, the theme for this month, was your suggestion. So you made my job a lot easier this time around. And I'm curious, what does the idea of working better together mean to you?
Yeah, I think that working better together is really necessary for our clients. We're all here to serve clients that need our help in Wisconsin. So we all have the same mission. We may say it differently, but our mission is to really help those that need us. Each of us has a finite amount of resources, so it really is imperative that we work together to address the barriers that our clients have. We each have a niche in this market. So I think it's important for us at FSC to realize we can't be everything to everyone all of the time. There are other agencies that really have level of expertise that we don't have, or that have specific funding. So for example, we work with other partners for assessments, AODA, housing concerns. And so everyone has an important role to play to help the clients that need us. So it's just important that we work together to utilize those resources that we're awarded efficiently and effectively.
Yeah, I had a director many years ago who loved the phrase, there's no sense in reinventing the wheel.
Hmm.
And I think that as annoying as it was to hear him repeat it over and over and over and over and over again, it is very applicable, I think, to the nonprofit world where so many resources already exist, and it saves not just one place time and money and effort, but it benefits the whole community to have open communication with each other and be able to pass it along. Why I think having these partner discussions is helpful, and why I hope that people check out the chat where we see all the different organizations across the state of people joining us, so that we can try to connect people together. So what do you see as a way that we can maybe improve the together part of working better together?
So I've heard this from our staff, and also I think through Brian Covey, through some of the focus groups that have happened about our clients. Many of our clients have experienced some level of trauma, and it's really hard for them to relay their story every single time. It can bring up different emotions and trauma feelings every time that we have to have them document their story so we can put it in a database or something like that. So I I think it's imperative for us to work with partners to try to find a way that we can make that a little bit more seamless for the clients. How can we find a tool to help to connect everyone so the client is served and doesn't have to relive any trauma or potential barriers that they have every single time. As I said before, we can't be everything to everyone, even though we really want to be. We do need other experts sometimes, and it can be hard to make those referrals, um, and knowing that the client might have to retell their story again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a big part that we even heard from clients themselves, being passed from one place to another, and as you said, having to restart the whole process over again. I think that there are shortcuts that we can find through communication with one another. And I'm very excited to start to explore what some of those avenues might be in the future, or even more avenues, I should say. Um, so you've been with FSC for a long time now. Well, long in relative terms, I suppose.
Mhm.
Uh,
Don't age me, Landon.
I'm not trying to. I'm sorry. Uh, Relative to me, who I've only been here for almost.
Yeah.
Um, what's and you'd mentioned you'd missed being in the nonprofit world after being out of it, and that you recognize that FSC does things a little bit differently. I was wondering if you could dig a little deeper into that and tell me what you think maybe the biggest strength of FSC is, and what continues to, whenever you wake up in the morning, rededicate yourself to the work.
Um, I think the biggest strength of FSC is our people and our culture. We are innovative. I think we're always looking to put the client first. Um, and how can we help the client navigate this system of government programming and services that can be very difficult? Um, I think I've had to, connect some other, of my personal family members to services, and I'm in this industry to a point, and it's really hard, even though I knew what I'm doing somewhat. So I don't know how someone who doesn't have a friend or a family member that can help them navigate. That's really our role, is to help them. Um, I think our case management approach is also very innovative and unique, that we ask people what their dreams are to ensure that they're motivated to work what they want to work on to help them achieve their dreams. It's not us telling them what we think they should do, it's them controlling the narrative and the situation.
Yeah, myself found that to be a very interesting aspect of this organization, where it seems like so many of these programs and processes are very process oriented, and that asking them, and I've done interviews with participants in the past who were kind of taken aback by the mere mention of asking, well, what do you want? What what do you think of besides, being the immediate needs right in front of you? And I think it's interesting that we're giving them a path to follow rather than just another blindless path to, or steps to follow, and to a means to an end, I should say, where there's kind of a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, nobody wants to be a number. We're people. We want to be seen and heard, and not just run through a system because that's what somebody tells us we have to do. I think so many people in our field are, and I think I've heard Tessa say this at a meeting, you have to be a good listener. Like, your number one skill has to be listening to what that client needs.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw you a little curveball here and ask you something that I ask the clients when I get the honor to interview them. The scenario is there's someone standing outside the door who has never stepped through before. And what would you, if you went out there, what would you say to them to get them to take that first step?
To come into our office?
Yeah.
I think it's important to be welcoming, to ask them, how we could help, ask them, I kind of steal from what I said before, to ask them what their dream is. How can we help you, like our mission says, become to understand the better person of who you want to become. Our customers are in tough situations, and a lot of times not from anything that they did, but something just happened, very unfortunate. And so it's our job to make them feel seen and heard, to help them move on from a tough situation.
Going down to your experience again, you've seen the nonprofit world, and specifically where we work, through many different lenses and perspectives. I'm kind of curious, with those different looks at what we do, how do you think that the industry might change in the coming years? And what do you think the best way, not just FSC, but we can all kind of prepare for it?
Yeah. I think a lot of the things that the pandemic taught us is that we can do case management differently, that we can do more online options, and we can meet people in their homes, which has really helped some of the transportation barriers that our live clients expect. But I know I've talked to other people who live up north, and some of our staff who need to come into the office because that's the reliable interconnection. So it's a good idea, and it works well when you live in Dane County or Brown County, but not necessarily if you live in Oneida County. So I think there's a lot of interesting things happening with the infrastructure investment project, where there's going to be some unique opportunities to have clients trained in different skills to help some of that project and some of the investments in technology. It also opens up opportunities for clients in rural communities. Their family is there, so they might not necessarily want to leave the rural community, but perhaps if they can have reliable internet connection, it opens up more jobs between IT or call center or anything that they might not have the opportunity to if they have to drive to a different location.
Yeah, you mentioned the pandemic, and I don't want to dwell on it because I'm sure we're all ready to stop talking about it. But it, as you said, illustrates the necessity for innovation. And I think it's kind of interesting, the openness to that, not just FSC, but so many people have opened up to over the last couple of years to address those individual situations. Because I think what we've learned is that there is no cookie cutter solution that works for absolutely everybody. And while you have to have some sort of process in there, not being afraid to take chances and try new things to serve, a certain type of people, or that might be experiencing a certain type of situation, I should say, is interesting. And what if you could say, like, what the one big takeaway, and I'm not trying to get you to repeat yourself, but the one big takeaway from what we've learned about the flexibility needed, maybe, from the pandemic, and how that shapes what we do in the future, regardless of, whatever next big unavoidable thing might come.
Um, I think a lot of hybrid options work for a lot of clients who have maybe minor children in the home or have transportation issues. It's a great way to connect with a case manager. Also, I think people were coming to our office a lot to hand in forms or whatever. So there's definitely DocuSign and other things that have helped with that. But there is always a segment of the population that wants to see us. And I also think we can't forget the importance of connecting peer-to-peer clients together, and the impact that a face-to-face meeting with the case manager might have. So I think, like, going into the future, I only see hybrid options are just going to become available. I don't think we can move solely to just back to in-person, or we can move just to online options. I think there's always going to be people that take a training better by sitting and working with an instructor. And there'll be people that just like connecting virtually because that's how they are.
Yeah, different learning styles. Yeah, I think
Mhm.
it's nice to have those options. And to speak of that kind of hybrid, confusing nature of everything, and tying it to what we're doing right now with these lunch and learns, um, I think it's great that we're able to connect, me, one person here in Madison, being able to speak to, the entire state, partners across our entire service area, is done, by being able to have these access options. I'm trying to find a way to segue that into our partnerships, and how what you're describing right now in terms of our clients can affect our partnerships, and what your current views are on those partnerships and ways we might be able to improve them.
I think we have a great resource network. I think we have a lot of excellent responsive or connections with um, other agencies. I think our staff know the people at the other agencies, and hopefully the other agencies would say that they know our staff. Um, I think we can always improve on making sure that our clients have the right documents when they go there, or that when our partners send clients our way, that they have that we have everything that we need. So I think just being more open. I think, we have explored the use of technology access points in some of those rural communities about how they can connect with our staff better. Or, I mean, there's also ways to maybe explore connecting with a partner agency through that as well. It's all, we all have probably home computers and reliable internet access, but we sometimes take that for granted that not all clients have a reliable internet connection, a data plan, or a laptop to be able to make those connections.
So maybe I'm kind of curious, setting the technological part of it aside, and really trying to put ourselves in the seat of the client across from a case manager or a job developer or anyone that's working at a nonprofit.
Mhm.
Uh, what do you see the future of the client experience being for them? You'd mentioned a little bit about,
Mhm.
the fatigue of explaining the story over, kind of reopening potentially traumatizing moments. Form fatigue, I know from experience, it's a real thing. Um, so yeah, on a personal level, how do we improve the client experience?
I I think it's looking at improving the client experience through looking at their dreams. How can we make sure we use our resource network to connect them to the things that they want to work on and connect? I think in the future, that's a tough question because I was doing some research about like jobs in 2050. Like, I don't think the jobs that we have right now, they're not all necessarily going to be the jobs that are in the future, or we're going to have a whole bunch of new jobs. The level of like AI and other things are going to change jobs. So I think it's important that we, especially like in our youth programming, really think about our curriculum and how we're training the youth of the future to fill those roles that are going to be needed. Similarly, with any of our adult or dislocated worker programs as well, how can we upskill or connect with partners who have the upskill to those new jobs going forward? It seems like they're so focused on AI or STEAM programming, that, you know, not to go back to the pandemic, but those skills were tough for students in the pandemic. It was tough everyone was learning about online and teaching, and there is a learning loss that we have to overcome.
Mm.
And we have to, think about how Wisconsin might look in the future with different jobs.
Yeah. And hopefully, regardless of how drastically those might change, there will be services to train and support them on their journey to whatever those new jobs are that we can't fathom. Hopefully it's not serving our AI overlords, but we never know. I am kind of curious, like, I guess thinking in that direction, taking that ball and running with it for a bit, what new ideas, I guess, in the approach to what we do excite you and make you, passionate for the future of not only your job, but what all nonprofits are doing in Wisconsin?
So there's a couple of things to me here. I think I will listen to anyone who has a creative idea with transportation and childcare. I think our Lisa Ullman says this on our surveys, 60 to 70% of our clients have transportation issues. I see our WeTap budget and the money is dwindling quite fast. I'm sure everyone has a client with a transportation issue. So any creative ideas we have with transportation, the struggle is real in childcare. It's tough. We have less slots, less teachers, less affordable options. Or if you're in a rural community, you're most likely in a childcare desert. So any creative ideas that FSC can be involved in or partner in regarding any of those two things, definitely excites me. I feel like these are some of the biggest barriers to families returning to the workforce, of a parent who might have had to leave, or to just keeping a job and sustaining a job. We definitely have to address these two issues.
Yeah.
And I think also from our perspective, data analytics are exciting to me. I think we have a lot of exciting things happening with dashboards, and to use our data in like the next level. How can we tailor our programming using data to make sure that clients have an opportunity to succeed? How can we help them gain that self-sufficiency? We have to figure out, how can we best serve our clients with the resources that we have.
Now you're speaking my language.
Mhm.
Even though I flunked out of accounting, I love analytic numbers because they're not mathematics necessarily. They tell
Yeah.
a story, and those stories are incredibly important and often eye-opening. So that's exciting to hear. So, I mean, are there any specific projects or ideas floating around that you're most looking forward to?
I'm excited about the JAG expansion. We're able to double our allocation and work on those youth programmings with the JAG program. Definitely some of the work that we're doing like this with partner agencies and referrals, and how we can look at referrals and make sure we make a quality referral, and figure out how we can use that data to help clients succeed and complete a program to make sure we improve results and efficiencies and just more successes for our clients.
Yeah, I know in communications, when I'm not hosting this monthly session, we're working pretty hard on figuring out ways to improve the quality of referrals and how we can improve the communication from us to partners and partners to us, and it seems to be a very important component to the client experience in my biased but humble opinion. So I want to, well, actually, before we open it up to questions, I realize we've intended numerous times to have a topic about youth programs here on these Lunch and Learns. And I'm wondering if you want to take this opportunity to just kind of mention a little bit deeper, maybe some of our Upward Bound or JAG stuff that we haven't had a chance to mention yet, because you seem like you've mentioned it a few times that you might be interested in saying a few words.
Sure. We have our Upward Bound program, which is we have 7 Upward Bound contracts, and those serve first generation or low income students to with the outcome of getting them to enroll in post-secondary ed and then complete post-secondary ed. We have our Jobs for America's Graduate program, which serves, there's a number of barriers that are identified that we could enroll students if they have some barriers. Most of them are credit deficient or have some other family or low income barriers. And the goal is to get a positive outcome. In those situations, we have a teacher that works in the classroom directly every day with those students. So we want to enroll those students in post-secondary ed or full-time employment or joining the military. It's really focused, both programs are focused on community-based, understanding your community, making sure you graduate high school and understand different employment opportunities that are available to you.
Yeah, I mean, and you've mentioned earlier in this chat how important starting with youth is before we get to the point of supportive services as an adult. And I just want to mention, I had the honor of working with some JAG projects recently, and these kids are super smart. I'm shocked how articulate they are. They should be hosting these because they'll get their thoughts out a lot better than I am. And I'm gonna, if it's all right with you.
The next one is have Jonitha have her South Division High School students host it.
That would be great.
Yes.
If it's all right with you, I'm going to share one of our JAG videos in the chat.
Yes.
It's a YouTube video, and I was just so blown away by what these kids can do and say, and how bright they see their futures after going through some of these youth programs. I think it highlights just how important it is to not overlook supporting them and giving them hope while they're young. Okay, so let's move on to opening it up to questions. I think I've asked everything on my list. Is there anything, Michelle, that we didn't hit that you want to talk about real quick before we open it up?
I think we're okay.
Okay. We had one question in the chat. It looks like it was taken care of by Jennifer Marks.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah. So feel free to put something in the chat if you don't want to hop on mic, or you can hop on the mic if you have any questions for Michelle.
Craig, I can't hear you. I see you talking, but I see you on video.
Yeah.
Is it raining in Brown County? Like it is here.
Let's see, where'd Craig go? technology issues.
Yeah.
All right, looks like you're unmuted. Wait, maybe. I'll edit this part out of the final product.
Now I think he's typing it.
Okay. When in doubt, use your fingers. You'd mentioned college basketball.
Yeah.
I'm not up on my sports, especially college sports, but how do you feel about the Brewers?
I like the Brewers. We're doing okay so far.
So
Can you
far.
hear me now?
Hey,
Yeah.
there he is. Hey, Craig.
Oh man, me and technology. Anyway, hi Michelle. I'm
Hi.
Craig. I'm the probation and parole FSEC case manager here in Green Bay, and I'm super excited about the job that I do. Hoping that we can expand that. I have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
First one is, what is your dream for FSC moving forward? And the second one is, will I still get a birthday card and an anniversary card every year from you?
You will still get a birthday and anniversary card every year. I have a whole stack in my office, and I started with July, so you'll get one. You can shout out to a few other staff who also told me that I needed to continue that tradition. So my dream for FSC is to continue to expand some of the great programming that we have. I also am a big fan of the probation and parole program. I think there's lots of opportunity. I think employers are willing to partner with that. I know there are several other programs kind of throughout the state. Like I said, the JAG, expanding JAG and youth programming is also exciting. I think I'm also a proponent of financial literacy. I know there's a few proposals that we've talked about here and through like DCF with financial literacy, kind of similar to the educational navigators. Also a newer program to us, but also very exciting because just like navigating programs is difficult, navigating the educational system can also be very challenging as well. So I hope to just continue being a top performer in the state and addressing new opportunities as they come.
Well, thank you and welcome aboard.
Thanks.
Craig was instrumental in our first lunch and learn of this year, working with the justice involved, and we had a fantastic conversation with Christopher Zahn over at Wisconsin Voices for Recovery, which continues to be a fantastic resource if anyone wants to reach out to them.
Yeah, Lisa and I had a meeting, so it's relatively new with the Madison Justice team. It's a group of community members here that are working on trying to connect some of the resources, and they do kind of have a justice, probation, parole kind of theme. So we're just starting to expand that and making some connections with that. So definitely more to come. I'm sure there are similar type organizations that we just need to get connected to and other communities that we serve.
If there's anyone on the call that can help with connections or have a connection of your own, feel free to reach out to any of us after the call is over or put your information in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. All right, moving on to another question. Feel free to hop on your mic or put it in the chat. I'll give it a 10-second countdown before I go back into the Brewers.
What is your sport, Landon, or are you a no sport type of?
Yeah, I originally come from Michigan, though I did a 15-year detour out in LA. And I was baseball when I was a kid, but I fell off of it when I was in LA. Just the Dodgers fans always kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and it just kind of put me off the sport. So I thought when I moved to Wisconsin, I would rekindle that love of baseball and adopt a new team. So I've taken on the Brewers. I also liked hockey when I was over in Michigan, and I'm kind of surprised that Wisconsin doesn't have a hockey team. That's strange to me.
Well, I am a season holder of the Badger men's hockey team, although we don't want to talk about the last couple of years, but. So my dad is a Youper. Are you a Youper or are you from the southern?
No, I was in the Detroit area. Yeah, but been up there a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Michelle, I don't have a question. I just want to welcome you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sure you've seen a lot that's happened in the years that you've been here, and you're going to keep us going wonderfully. So thank you. Thank you for staying with us, and congratulations on your new position.
Thanks, Vicki. I appreciate that.
You are welcome.
Here's a question for you. Just as I'll give it a few more minutes to put a question in the chat. Kind of as I'm trying to redecorate my own office here, as it's just been a void in every session we've done here. What is your most coveted thing in your office object?
Oh, so the finance team this is a joke with me. So I didn't decorate my office that I was in as CFO. My staff decorated it. So a lot of the things that they put up are up there, they put up because I'm really bad at interior design. So I will also take any referrals. Anyone wants to help me. But my most probably prized possession in my office is my daughter. She's now 6, but I have her first artwork that she did at daycare. That's in my office. So that's probably it. But I have nothing on the walls in this office. So again, if your kids want to send me pictures, we do have staff that are artists. I will also take that. I don't know if Trevor's on the call, but
she also has the brewer hot dog, the brewer sausage.
Oh, I do.
Sausage race.
I do have those, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Okay, well, I think if you have any questions for Michelle or about these Lunch and Learns, you can always reach out to us after the call is done. We will send out, as I said, all the information following this. So I just want to thank you, Michelle, for joining us. We've done our Q&A session.
Mm-hmm.
Landon,
Yeah.
you got time for one last question?
Yeah, of course, Renard. Go ahead.
Michelle, I just want to know, on a personal level, how do you differentiate between entitlement and empowerment?
Oh, that's a good question. I think empowerment is kind of our job to help our clients take control of their situation, to take control in the process of improvement of their situation. I also hope that our staff feel empowered to help their clients or to ask for help when they need it. Are empowered to make decisions that are in the best interest of their clients. I know the word entitlement is thrown a lot with our program sometimes, that people call them entitlement programs, but they all have a work component. They all are. I think it's our responsibility as community members to help them, overcome the barriers and challenges that they have.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Thanks for the last hard-hitting question of the day, Renard. Appreciate that. But I want to thank everyone who has joined us today, both who are still here and those who had to hop off at lunch. So thank you so much. Just a reminder that we like to improve these sessions. We look at the analytics, we look at the feedback. So we have a little short survey here. I'm going to put it in the chat where your feedback, there we go. Your comments on how we do here inform the topics that we choose in the future, the ways that we conduct these. We really take them to heart, so we would appreciate if you take 2 seconds to fill that out. Just a reminder that I will follow up with today's session with a PDF, the slide deck, some additional materials, and the recording of today's session. And feel free to follow us on social media by searching for Forward Service Corporation. And next month, we will be addressing Access Wisconsin, the Access Wisconsin app. So we hope to see you all then. For Michelle, I've been Landon Solano. Thank you all so much, and I hope you have a fantastic afternoon.